Welcome back to session 8, our last session of our course, Living from a Place of Surrender, the Untethered Soul in Action. What we've done so far, without specifically defining the word, is I am sure by now you understand what's meant by surrender. It doesn't mean you're surrendering to somebody. It's not somebody else's will superimposed on top of yours. It doesn't mean you're a weakling. I surrender, I give up, I don't want to fight. It doesn't mean you're surrendering your marriage or marrying. It doesn't mean you're surrendering your job or working. It doesn't mean anything like that. That's why I refuse to define surrender in the beginning. Surrender is very, very subtle, and it's very, very powerful. And you will find out that it is the entire spiritual journey. What surrender is, as we've discussed it, is you are in a predicament. It's called reality. Right now, where almost all of us are, I'm leaving the masters out, is we are conscious and we are aware of what is unfolding in front of us. The world is coming in, we're experiencing it. The mind is reacting to the world that's coming in because we stored reactive triggers inside ourselves due to our past experiences. The heart is reacting to the reaction of the mind, or we have stored so much within our heart that it's leaking. It just comes up with stuff all by itself. It doesn't need the outside world to come in and stimulate. This is reality. This is what's going on. So you are in there overwhelmed at all times by this experience of releasing energies inside of you that most people know absolutely nothing about, and it's like a drowning person. I'm drowning. Well, while I'm drowning, I'm not very nice. While I'm drowning, I scream a little bit. While I'm drowning, I yell at people, help me, help me. I do all kinds of things while I'm drowning. If somebody swims to help me, I'll grab them. They may drown too. I'm not in charge of my actions. I'm not a rational human being. I'm not centered. I'm not clear. I'm drowning. And we are drowning inside. So what do you do when you're drowning? You try to grab something solid. That's what you do. You try to grab a floating board passing by. You try to grab anything you can in order to not sink. That is how almost everybody is living their lives. What are we grabbing? You're trying to grab on to form outside. If people will respect me and talk nicely to me, I won't be as caustic in here. If she'll love me instead of loving him and pay attention to me and say nice things to me and marry me, not to mention marry me, like take vows and tell me she'll always be true to me. And so that's pretty solid, right? Excuse me. And you grab a hold of that and you hold on to it and you try to not drown until he or she goes out and does something that doesn't reinforce that, and then you drown, right? If you want to see how much you're clinging and holding on by trying to try to create a solidity inside via the outside world, see what happens when it's not the way you want. I mean, it's like trying to even ask it. What happens when somebody does something who's very close to you, who you have depended on and are clinging to, if you will, all right? What happens when they do something that does not reinforce your ability to cling? They say something or act something, you think they say something, somebody tells you they acted something, or you think maybe someday they will. Even that, even if they've done nothing. And your mind thinks, well, what if they do? Sally's husband left her. What if Sal leaves me? That's all it takes, isn't it? And what do you feel? Pain. You feel pain. You feel disturbance. You feel destruction. All these energies shift inside. That's right. Because what you have been doing is trying to build a place of solidity within your mind that you can hold on to. And as long as everything reinforces that, at least reasonably, you feel you're safe. You have distanced yourself from the core of the energies that you've stored inside by clinging to something else. That's how we live. That's what we do. And it doesn't work. So the first step that we discussed is, not the first and last, is if you want to grow spiritually, if you want to have a nice life, if you don't want to feel you're always struggling with life, if you don't want to dread waking up in the morning, if you don't want a midlife crisis. What's a midlife crisis? I've been building and doing and clinging and fighting and doing half my life because I want to be okay and I'm not. I'm not. I got the kids, I got the marriage, I got the job. I got perfectly reasonable to have a midlife crisis. I'm surprised everybody doesn't have them. You understand that? Because you've gone halfway through this thing and you realize I didn't get anything. I'm the same as I was when I started. I'm not okay. I'm okay as long as she behaves. I'm okay as long as the kids get A's. I'm okay as long as this happens. I'm okay as long as the finances hold up. I'm conditionally okay, and I know it, and therefore I have to struggle to get it and keep it. And that's why life is a struggle. And we've talked about that. So we talked about what's the alternative, and that's what we're going to talk about in this session, strongly, deeply. What is the alternative? The alternative is to clean up the mess. You are drowning. Listen to me. There's an analogy I use, all right? You have been drowning. You're screaming. You're helping. The water's in your nose. The water's in your mouth. You're choking. Everything. Oh my God, you're drowning. And I'm standing there watching you. The water is 6 inches thick. You are laying deep, 6 inches deep. You are laying down, face down, nose in it, thrashing around. I'm drowning. I'm drowning. So all the water is splashing up into your face. That's all that's happening. There's no drowning. There's no reason to drown. You are causing yourself the entire problem that you are having. There is no problem. You are sitting on a planet spinning around the middle of absolutely nowheres. Do you understand that? Come on, pay attention to what NASA's showing you. We've taken pictures. I keep it as my screen saver, right? There's a picture they took of the planet Earth from 2 million miles out. Cassini turned around. It's about this big in the middle of dark space. You know what it looks like? It looks like what Mars looks like to you, right? It's just a planet spinning in the middle of nowheres. How can you tell me you can't drop down into the nicest planet there is? We haven't found anything even close in the whole galaxies or universe, right? We've looked pretty far back with the Hubble. Nothing. We're all excited if we find a planet that might have water. Water falls out of the sky for you. It's all over the place. You go to Mars, there's rovers crawling over Mars. Let's see how long you can watch them and be interested. There's nothing going on. It's just a bunch of dirt. Look at your planet. So you won the lottery. You dropped down into this phenomenal planet that's always exciting and challenging and growthful and colorful and shapes and sounds and unbelievable. And what do? You suffer. Why? It's not the planet. It's not that. It's the fact that you have this stuff stored inside of you. And how I put it, different people have hobbies of collecting different things. Some collect spoons from all over the world, teacups, stamps, coins. You collect bad experiences. And that's the truth. That's what you made your hobby. I'm going to collect every bad experience I ever had and keep it inside of me on display so that it can continue bothering me. All right? That's the only problem. That's the problem. If you keep doing that, you're going to collect more and more experiences throughout your life, and it will get heavier and heavier and harder. So the answer is the willingness to let go of this stuff that you have built up inside of you. Then you will not be drowning. It's not a matter of what do I do because I'm drowning. You won't be drowning. I've explained to you, there's an energy flow that flows up inside of you. Most of you don't know too much about it yet. Some of you do. You've had experiences. If you will practice what we're talking about, every single one of you, this energy flow will become a totally natural thing to you, just like your breath or your heartbeat. It's something you actually experience. It's real. The energy flows up. It can't make it past your blockages. Therefore, it manifests exactly in accordance to the blockages it hits. And that's what you now experience as your normal state, right? It's not a normal state. It's the state that comes because these are the blockages you stored. And so you feel a certain amount of fear, a certain amount of anxiety, a certain amount of tension, a certain amount of love. It all comes up. When people, some of you are into auras, people say their auras are different colors and different spots. It's all right. That is literally the manifestation of how the energy is flowing around your blockages. That's what ends up painting your aura. That's where it comes from. A great being, the auras don't look like that. They're pure light, oh my God. They're pure light, shining, beaming in all directions. The size of, yours is around your body, theirs would encompass the town. And that's the truth, all right? It's very, very, very beautiful. I don't get into psychic things, I don't need any of that, but it ties it all in too. So the question is, are you going to tolerate that you are making your life hell? that you are causing yourself to drown, you're causing yourself to have emotional problems, you're causing yourself to not be happy, and then you're going outside and demanding that the world be somehow that you made up, that if it's that way, I'll be okay. No, you won't. It's that simple, right? You have to work at the cause. So the spiritual path is always about letting go of yourself. Let's get a little more specific. Some people have trouble with anger, right? You know that. Some people have trouble with anger. Maybe you don't, but people do. They have trouble with anger. What is anger? Anger is the exact energy I'm talking about, the beautiful Shakti, chi, spirit energy, coming up, hitting the blockages that you stored in there of what mommy and daddy did, or your boss yelled at you, et cetera, et cetera. You had a bad day. Now you're coming home. That energy is blocked inside of you. It's just like if you have a burner on a stove with a teapot on it. There better be a hole in there going, because there's a lot of pent-up energy that needs to be released. What happens if I don't let it? I put my little finger over that hole. Please don't do it. I don't want you to see. At some point, it will explode. Do you understand that? That's what anger is. That is exactly what anger is. You have blocked the energy inside of you. It can't release. Therefore, at some point, it blows up. And you sit there and say, well, it's not my fault. I just lose it. Yes, it is your fault. Not at that moment. I appreciate, I have compassion, I understand. At that moment, it becomes so strong. Yes, it's true. When that teapot blows up, it's not your fault, but you put the finger over the thing, you turned on the stove, and you created the blockage. All right? So at one point along the sequence, you had control. I agree you don't have control when it blows up. All right? I told you I did 30 years of prison work, and I love my men so much. They still write me. We still have communication. And one really, really beautiful soul that was a real troublemaker, right? Not in my class. He was beautiful. Really very deep person, meditated a lot and so on. He don't go into lockup all the time. He couldn't come to our classes. If you're in prison, by the way, and you do bad, they put you in lockup, all right? Prison within the prison. And he'd go in, and I'd say, what happened? What's going on? He said, I'm so sorry. I said, I got in a fight, all right? And I said, why do you fight so much? And he was so honest, so beautiful. And he wasn't a big kid. He was a small kid, all right? And he said, it makes me feel good. What an honest answer. It was so beautiful. He said, no, it makes me feel good. After I fight, I mean, really fight. I don't care if I get beat up. I don't care when he's fighting big people, right? I don't care. I feel wonderful for days afterwards. Of course you do. You have all this pent-up energy inside of you from all the suppressions and blockages that you have, and it's not comfortable in there, is it? It manifests different ways. You get uncomfortable, you get tight. That's what tension is. I told you that, right? And now you have this opportunity to lose it. Right? Just lose it. And bam, this energy comes flying out. I found a channel. It found a way to express itself. All right? And you feel peaceful afterwards. You feel better. I understand. That doesn't mean it's a healthy thing to do. Do you understand that? Okay? If you're a drug addict and you're on heroin and you're trying to go through withdrawal, it's really difficult. You're having all kinds of problems. Well, just get some heroin. You'll feel much better. Yes, you do feel much better. Do you understand that? It's exactly the same. Exactly the same. When you release the energies unconsciously, not consciously, okay? You're not in charge. They're just releasing themselves suddenly, and they come out as violence, or they come out as lust, or they come out different things, all right? You can't control yourself. They just release themselves that way. You are carving channels in your neural pathways that will make it easier to do that again. It's a habit. It becomes a habit form for the energy to release that way. So not only is it unhealthy because of what you did, right? You cause all kinds of trouble. If you're not there, there's going to be trouble. It's that simple. This is where I've gotten, right? What does that mean if you're not there? You know what I mean. You're conscious, but you're behind all this energy and it's freaking you out, and then you come back. If you're not there, no good is going to take place. Equivalent as follows. Get into your car, drive 100 miles an hour, and then get in the back seat. How will that work out? No, I don't think don't do that. By the way, I didn't mean it, all right? That is what's happening inside of you. You cannot let these energies, just blocked energies, manifest and release any way they want. There's nobody driving. There's nobody home. I guarantee you, every single one of my men in that prison, maximum security for life, got there by not being there. They tell me all the time. Says, oh, maybe once you lost it. What does it mean to lose it? You use those terms. I lost it. I just lost it. Yeah, you were centered. You were there. You were on top of the energies. You were watching what's going on. and all of a sudden something from below, from beneath, came up, you didn't handle it, therefore it blew through and hit somebody, or did this, or whatever the heck it is. That's what all of this is about. That's what violence is. Have compassion, have understanding. I mean, deal with it. But that's what everybody's violence is. There is no other violence. It's not natural to be violent. Okay? And then don't talk to me about animals. Yes, you have an animal self. Absolutely. That's Freud's id. Yes, it is true. You are living inside of an animal's body. Do you know that? Right? Go ask Darwin. All right? But you are not an animal. You are the consciousness that is watching these tendencies, these urges, these drives. They're totally natural. That doesn't mean that you allow them to express themselves. There is a higher level of your being. Those energies can be raised up. So it's not like, because I say it's so important. I could talk to you forever about this stuff because people give you such misunderstanding. If I said to you, it doesn't mean you let them express themselves, you get this whole psychology mind of, no, you need to express yourself. No, you do not express the lower energies. Well, then you suppress them. No. We're right where I want to talk to you about. Your choices are not expression or suppression. There's a third. Suppression, don't do it. All it does is build up, pent up, and boy, it's going to blow up in there one way or another, right? Expression, those energies don't know what they're doing. They're just the result of all these blockages that you stored inside of you, and they're just finding a way to try and release themselves. There's no logic to that. There's no goodness to that. There's no divinity to that. There's no social value to that at all. It's your garbage expressing itself. There, yes, go express the garbage you built inside of you. Now, talk about polluting. All you guys are into environmental stuff. Come on, you're polluting the environment with your garbage. So it is not about suppressing, absolutely. It is not about expressing, it's not. It is about transmuting, releasing. It is about the fact that the level that energy is blocked seems like reality. It's not. The energy can rise up higher, and all of a sudden there's a whole nother reality. There are people who think a relationship is about control. You know that, right? About controlling people. Have somebody who always listens to you. Well, normally that's a prototype they put for a woman's role. I hope you're rebelling, all right? That you're just supposed to do everything the guy says, but it could be matriarchal society that does the opposite. I'm not into the gender stuff, right? But the point is, that's what they think a relationship is, an ownership contract. That you'll do, you love me, you said you want to marry me, do what I want. Do what I say. Well, I hope it's turning your spine. Some of you guys getting upset talking that way, aren't you? And you should. That's ridiculous. You're equal. You're the same as anybody else. There's no way that because you're in a relationship with somebody that they own you, or they can tell you what to do, or that you should always have to do what they want. Do you understand that? But some people, that's what a relationship means. That's what we call third chakra. Literally, that's third chakra. What does that mean? I don't get into chakras with you, but that means the energy has risen up to the third level. That's the level of social control. That's the level of I'm controlling. It's power. I express myself and my blockages by controlling somebody else and getting the world the way I need it to be so I'm okay. How's that for third chakra, right? That's third chakra. So you sit there and say, well, if I don't do that, I have to suppress that because those are the urges and tendencies I have. No. Relax and release. And the energy will, over time, it's not going to happen tomorrow. There's not a weekend retreat. Get that straight. I don't do weekend retreats, all right? Or even 2-week retreats. This is your life. I'm interested in every moment of your life. If you will relax and release the blockages that are blocking the energy at that level to where it's trying to express through power and control and manipulation, right? I explained that to you the whole course. The reason it's doing that is because you're not okay. I'm not okay inside. So therefore I need you to be a certain way, all right? Well, how about we be okay inside and see what the relationship looks like? So you do the work you need to do to let go of your own blockages that are causing you to not be okay. And that's an understatement, not okay. That's like gentle. You're more not okay. Some people are really not okay. They're suffering, like Buddha said. It causes suffering because you have all this stuff blocked in there. It's not comfortable. You can't sleep at night, right? You got to find things to distract yourself. I don't need to tell you this. You know all about this. So if you will release the blockages, over time, the energy will make it past the blockages. Why? Because they're not there. They will come up, you will push them, it will push them out of the way, and the next thing you know, you will look back at the relationship you used to have, And you'll be ashamed of yourself. You'll want to go back to every person you ever had a relationship with and say, oh, I am so sorry. I was so lost. I'm so sorry. And you didn't hit him or anything, but just the way you treated him. You understand that? It was about you. Well, then go back into your college and high school relationships. They're all about you. They're all about what you need, what you want, and right? And have respect for the other person, right? And all of a sudden you come up into the heart, and oh my God, all you do is love. Relationships about love. It's not about control. Relationships about giving a person a room to be what they are, to express themselves, to have a beautiful environment because you love them, right? There's no way you would ever want to tell them what to do. There's no way you would ever want to manipulate or control them. You couldn't even find it inside yourself. It's not like you have to suppress doing that. It's not happening inside of you. So it is not that if I tell you you don't want to suppress or express those energies, I'm telling you I'm right. You do not want to suppress those energies. They will blow up inside of you and cause real disturbance later, all right? And you don't want to express those energies because they are patterned based on the lowest part of your being. They're patterned based on your blockages. And if you express them, you are expressing your blockages, and you have now manifested your blockages externally. It will be where you're working. It will be how you're dealing with people. It will be everything. That's your karma, right? And you won't grow. It's ridiculous. I can't even talk about it. I hope you see it, right? So no, you don't want to express that energy. If you will release the blockages, the energy will naturally come up higher, and it will be a higher expression, all right? Until eventually, I'm going to talk about that more in a little bit, but I want to make sure you get this, right? Where the energy is, and what it is wishing to express is so beautiful. And you don't have to fight with it. You don't need mores or folkways. You don't need the Ten Commandments. You don't need a belief structure. You don't need to be afraid of going to hell for eternity. You don't need anything. Your natural state is the most beautiful thing that ever walked the face of the earth. All right? You're truly following in Christ's footsteps, not because what would Christ do, but because what is going on inside of you is what Christ would do, because that's what's going on inside of him. Every single person is capable of reaching that state. It is not that someone can be higher than another. It is a question of at what level are you working with these energies? The energy wants to go up. This I assure you. And in yoga we say, Shakti wants to go to Shiva. Okay, what does that mean? The energy wants to go up. In the Kabbalah, they talk about the lightning strike that goes up the tree of life from the root to the crown. That's exactly the rising of the Kundalini. All this Kundalini yoga stuff, which I do, whatever you are doing to work on yourself, I honor and respect it, okay? I want the Kundalini to go up naturally. It is not a forceful event. Most Kundalini is forcing, awakening, forcing this awakening that I had this experience, right? If you will get these blockages out of the way, you will feel a gentle but strong, constant flow of energy up your spine. It will go higher and higher until eventually it is just manifested like a fountain at the top of your head and out your third eye. And you will never go below those two chakras, the Ajna and Sahasrara. All the energy will go up there. It is intoxicating. It will feed you. And your relationship in this world will be the most beautiful thing you ever had and everyone you ever meet will ever have. Why? Because you don't need anything from anybody. You're being fed inside. Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. You know, funny, it turns out the Bible's the truth. Not the way they interpret it, because they don't, how would they understand what that means? And then all of a sudden you have this energy flow coming from who knows where, feeding you all the time, perpetually inside. What you were trying to get from outside is going inside. So you don't have to be told, don't kill somebody. I mean, I always tell everybody, the Ten Commandments, that's a pretty low bar. Don't kill each other, don't eat each other, don't steal each other's wives. Don't. It's like, wow, he doesn't think much of us, does he? That's a low bar. That's how sick we are, that the bar was that low that when he gave us the commandments, they're saying, just stop killing each other, right? We'll get along with the rest, all right? There's something much higher, way higher, and you don't need to be taught it. It's your natural state. You're a beautiful being, and I mean truly beautiful being. You can't be beautiful if you're not okay. Because if you're drowning, you are going to grab and try to be okay. I don't blame you. There's no judgment here, right? If I feel lonely, so lonely, my God, and I'm scared at night and I'm lonely, you're going to try and find somebody, Guess what? Newsflash. You're going to think the problem is that I don't have somebody to be with. No. The problem is that your energy is blocked going into your heart. Therefore, the heart, the energy that's supposed to flow into and through your heart, that feeds you and makes you feel whole and complete, right? Like you are complete within yourself. You are self-effulgent. It is your natural energy that feeds you inside. You don't need anything to not be lonely. You wouldn't even know what loneliness is. So I'd have to explain it to you. What? I've never felt that in my life. I feel all this love and joy and fulfillment going on inside of me. The reason you don't is because you have blockages that will not let the Shakti, the Chi, get to that part. That's why you feel an emptiness. It is an emptiness. I feel a hollowness in my heart because the energy can't go there. Do you understand that? So it's not about finding things outside that will compensate for the problems you have created inside. If you want real life, real growth, real spirituality, it is all about letting go of the blockages that you are holding inside of you. So far, what we've dealt with is to sit there and say, there's a lot of negativity in life. You have a lot of negative experiences. You have a lot of negative feelings, right? I showed you anger, okay? And all kinds of energies come up. It's so sad. Somebody has a bad day at work. They come home and yell at the kids, or worse. Do you understand that? I don't blame them. I'm not mad at them. I don't judge them, right? It's called compassion. Instead of being mad, instead of being angry, instead of judging, I understand. You've heard my teaching. How could I not understand why somebody has a terrible time at work and comes home and yells or hits the kids? All right? It's not right. It's not that I'm not going to do something about it to try and protect the children. Do you understand that? But my first position is I understand. A yogi, a great being, would never say, I don't understand how you did that. Because then you're not a great being. If you don't understand how everyone does every single thing they do, you understand that? You don't understand anything. Because every single thing that everyone is doing is because they were blocked. And it manifests in different ways. All right? When I was in prison, when I was visiting prison doing my teachings, I ended up, usually there was a whole group came, but once, it must be God, one person came. One person. I was never alone, locked in a room. There's no guards in there, just locked in this room. And it turned out he was a serial killer. A famous, very famous, I don't want to get into detail, but a very famous many, many years ago. But you knew about this guy, right? This was front page of newspapers, and right? And he was killing a lot of people. And this stuff's going on, and here I am. Okay, hi. And we're face to face sitting there. And I never used to get into, I would just teach like this. But in this particular case, what am I going to teach? So he's telling me about himself, and he'd been coming to my class for a while. I teach the same thing wherever I am. All right. They had no trouble. These guys locked up in there, all right, had no trouble understanding the teachings and working with themselves. And he said, I've been coming to your class. The reason I come is, I said, why do you come? He says, I've been to many psychiatrists. I've been through all this therapy. You know, they're all working with me, all this stuff. The only person I ever felt that understood me and why I did what I did is you. But I said, but I've never talked to you. He said, it doesn't matter. You understand that the only way I got rushes was by doing what I did. I'm not saying it's right? But the same way somebody else gets excited because it's a wedding day, it raised all this energy to plan and then to hide and the act. Oh my God, all this energy rose up inside of me. It was the only moment I ever had that I felt alive. Otherwise, I felt broken. All right? I'm not asking you to become a serial killer. I'm not asking you to not arrest serial killers. Do you understand that? I'm asking you to understand it's all about the dance of the Shakti. It's all about what is going on in here, what are the blockages, and how is the energy manifesting. So our starting position is we're in trouble because we weren't able to handle the events that happened to us. All right? Maybe you do psychotherapy on this guy and find out that his father used to beat his mother. Okay? Well, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. I tell everybody, this is what I say if they tell me something like that. If I was there, I would put my life on the line to stop that and to protect you and to help you. All right? That was 35 years ago. No one's there anymore. You understand that? Mommy and daddy are dead. Why is that still going on inside of you? You need to own that. It is not true that just because it was that terrible, that stepfather used to beat mommy and I was in the room next door, right? Yes, it's difficult. Absolutely, right? Handle it. What do you mean, suppress it? They told me to handle it. No, suppress it doesn't work. You're going to become a serial killer. It'll pop out some other way. What does is to say, this is reality. That is what happened. I came down to the planet Earth. I was looking in a given direction in a given moment, and that's what I saw. Okay, check. Check. I swear to God, it's that simple. I know you don't believe it, right? I don't want to smoke anymore. I feel the urge. Don't pick up a cigarette. Now we're going to talk about it. You do understand. If I don't pick up the cigarette, it's over, right? If I say, yes, on my journey through the planet Earth, that's what I got to experience. What an experience. It was very powerful to me, right? And I handled it. Not I suppressed it. Not I can't talk about it. Not it became the foundation of my life. No, no, no. All right? It was something that happened to me. It was difficult. Oh, it was really difficult to experience, to tolerate. I would try to do anything I could about it, but what can I do? I'm an 8-year-old kid, okay? And so I had to go through this. Why? I don't know. I don't want to talk about karma. I don't want to talk about whys, right? There's no why. It doesn't matter. Do you understand that? If you're trying to stop smoking, you feel the urge to smoke. It doesn't matter why. It just matters that you don't do it. You understand that? What does it make? Why? Well, there's habit-formed energies and chemicals. Fine. How does that help me? Right? You are the self. You are the witness. You are the consciousness. And you are of greater power. You listen to me. You are of greater power than anything inside of you. There is nothing inside of you that is more powerful than you are. And they won't tell you that. They sit there and say, no, psychiatry now someone say, you don't really have free will. You do so. You have absolute free will. I wasn't going to tell this story, but I will, all right? With the inmates, I was sitting down with the prisoners, and I was having a conversation just like this, very similar. And they're not exactly the greatest examples of somebody who used free will properly, okay? They wouldn't be in there. And so I'm sitting there saying, you have, and they're saying, Mickey, you got the wrong group. Maybe the people you hang out with, but, that's not who we are, right? I mean, maybe 20 were sitting in there. I said, all right. And excuse me, it's a little off color what I'm trying to tell you, right? But I did. I'm sitting in a chapel, by the way. That's where we used to meet. And I said, okay, pay attention. Whatever you think is a beautiful woman, whatever turns you on, just walked in this room. They all sit up. Yeah, come on, they've been in for 20 years, 30 years, right? They all sit up, and they're going to walk right across this stage. There was a door on one side and on the other. They're going to walk across, and they can walk out the other door, and in the midst, they're going to disrobe. They're going to disrobe, and they're going to put their clothes back on and walk out there. Oh, they're like little boys. They start giggling and all this kind of stuff like boys do, all right? And I said, can you not look? Oh, it was so cute. I wish you could have been there. I get this. Oh, no. And I swear every one of them said, Mickey, I know you want me to say I have the will to not look. I've been here for 20 years. I'm a man. I'm a man. Come on. All right? I would look. I can't lie to you. I would look. It may be the last time I ever get to see anything like that. I would look. Right? I got everyone of them like that. I know what you want. I can't say it, Mick. I really can't. I sat up and said, okay, right here. Here's $10 million cash, a pardon from the governor, the keys to the Ferrari that are sitting out front, and the keys to the house in Maui, all yours if you don't look. Every one of them said, I ain't looking. There's nothing. I would never look. And they meant it. I said, you sure? Yes. But you just told me you could not look. Well, for that I could. So in other words, it's not that you can't not look. You don't want to enough. That story is very, very important. You hear me? All right? By definition, if you cannot look, then you cannot look. Don't tell me just because there's $1 million there, I all of a sudden gained the ability to not look. You always had the ability to not look. You just were not willing to assert enough will. How's that? But you give me enough reason, I'll assert that will. Okay, thank you. That is true of every single thing with every one of you. Don't sit there and say, but I don't have any will. Oh, yeah? I'll go put the right example up there, see whether you got some will. All right? And you build using it. You practice saying, I am me. I am the boss. This is my house, right? This is my house. I'm the only one living in here, okay? It doesn't mean you become a control freak in there. It is not about suppression. Surrender is not suppression. Surrender is not control. Surrender is not being a good little boy and never doing anything wrong. No. Surrender is, I am in here and I can handle anything that needs to release inside and let it pass. Because energies don't keep releasing. The blockage, when it pushed the blockage out of the way, remember, we put the rocks in the river and it caused all those eddies and rapids and sprays. What happens when you take the rocks out? The river goes right back to that beautiful flow it was. It doesn't even have an impression. There's no karma. How do you like that? I like telling you all, don't worry about karma. Don't you dare worry about karma. Karma happens when you let messed up energies express themselves into the world. By definition, they're coming back, all right, because you dumped them out there, right? Whatever you put out there is what's going to be out there. So if you yell at somebody, they're not going to like you as much, or they'll yell back, or whatever it is. It's long-term and short-term. You are dumping energies out into the world. It's like dropping colors of paint drops into a paint bucket. You're going to affect the color, all right? If you release these blockages, if you even want to release these blockages, right? The whole thing's gone. All right? If your intention at all times is, I get it, I'm in here, I'm going to let go. But you slip a little bit. Fine. It's like riding a bike and you fall down and get up. Don't worry about it. Will something come back? If it does, fine. It's little. Let it go. All right? But I'm telling you, once you've let go of that stuff and the energy is flowing clean and that's what's expressing itself, you're not expressing yourself. But there is something inside of you that is expressing. That is so beautiful that everyone you talk to is helped. Everything you do is raised. That's what it boils down to. You don't have to help people. You have to get the heck out of the way. God helps people. Reality helps people. Truth helps people. Beauty helps people. Love helps people. To understand that. Okay? So basically, you get this stuff out of the way and you become a blessing on the earth. Any place you walk, any one thing you interact with, anything you do is raised. And that becomes an understanding of what does it mean. So far what we've talked about, and I could talk forever, you know that about it, and I want to. I wish we could come back every day and do session 9 and 10, 11 and 12, right? It's called satsang, right? And remind you, hello, you still in there? Did you have a little trouble yesterday? That's why I recommend morning and evening. I don't care how much time. Set aside time to remember what this is all about. It is not about getting what you want. Do you understand that? Getting what you want is so oversold, it's so overrated, it's ridiculous. You're blocked, therefore the blockage is making you think you need something to be unblocked. That's not going to unblock the blockage. All it's going to do is lay something on top of it temporarily. It will come back up or manifest another way. Don't worry. You're not doing anything. And the same thing with avoiding what you don't want. It's a question of saying, am I going to use every moment of my life to take the opportunity to let go of the blocks that are inside of me? That's what your life is. And if you will go about doing that, it will happen. It will happen. It's a natural process that will come and take place. So what will happen eventually is, first, what we've talked about so far is what I'm going to call non-negative. Really. I'm admitting it. Everything we've talked about so far is, look what a mess it is in there. Look how hard it is sitting on top of Mount Vesuvius. It wants to blow up, doesn't it? Right? And you keep looking for ways that you can release these energies, right? Or push them back down because it's just not comfortable. It's not a nice seat you're sitting on because you're sitting on top of a volcano. You are. That Shakti is very powerful, right? But it's blocked. It's not going to stop pushing up. It will continuously push up. So, the Bible, Christ said, all right, whoever knocks, right? I am always there. Whoever knocks, I will open, right? I'm always trying to bring you up. That energy is always knocking at the door. It's always trying to push past the blockage. That's not so comfortable, is it? You wish it would go away, right? It is pushing at your blockages. Now I'm going to define surrender right here, right? You don't have to push the blockages. It's doing it for you. Spirit is doing that for you. It is pushing up. Always Shakti, Chi, Spirit, all the same stuff. It's pushing up. Its natural state is free, liberated. It wants to go up. But you're in the way. Your blockages are in the way. You don't have to make it or pick your blockages. What you have to do, here we go, is when it starts to push up, you're going to have this tendency to push it back down. I almost cried. Do you see that? It is not comfortable. Of course it's not comfortable. You stored garbage in there. Right? It's not going to feel like you want it to feel. Somebody's talking to you, you want to feel strong, and all of a sudden they say something, and you feel all weak. It drops out from under it, right? Time to go to God. Not time to argue with the person. Time to sit there and say, what is happening inside of me? What blockage did that hit that caused the shift to happen inside of me? And what it will happen is the energy will push it up, and you will not want that to happen. It is an uncomfortable experience. Of course it is. You spent your whole life trying to make it not happen, all right? You have to change your attitude. You say, what I want this stuff out. I want this stuff out. I want to know what it is like to live without this stuff bothering me. And since I'm the one who put it in there, I'm the one who has to let it go. So what happens is you're sitting in the seat, you've meditated. I was trying to tell you, you say morning and evening, right? You remember, the purpose of my life is letting go of my stuff. The purpose of my life is letting go of my stuff. The purpose of my life is letting go of my stuff. All right? Evening, the purpose of my day was letting go of my stuff. The purpose of my day was letting go. Remember. Don't complain about what happened. Neutralize constantly, twice a day. Start, end, at least twice. If you do the third in the middle, you're in good shape. All right? Neutralize. Let go. Remember what's happening. So here's what it feels like to grow. Let's get right down to where the rubber hits the road. You're in here, something happens, and the energy starts to shift inside. Your tendency is to push it away or to grab, if you like the energy to grab or to push it away. You're in here, you actually have hands in there. That's the way I really see it. In order to push it away, I need to push it away, all right? In order to grab it, I need to grab it. You're going to see what I mean if you try this. It's as if you have hands and you're trying to manipulate the energies that are shifting, all right? Surrender means don't do that. That's all it means. It means, are you willing, ready, willing, and able to sit in there when the energy shifts and you feel this tendency to smoke, I'm not talking about smoking, but it pulls on you, right? You meant it when you said you're not going to drink anymore, but then all of a sudden it became uncomfortable enough and you're being pulled in that direction. The energy will pull. It's like magnetism. It will pull you in the direction to try and get what it wants. Just like a little kid throws a tantrum when he gets doesn't get what he wants. All right. The question is not, does that happen? It does happen. The question is not, is that difficult? It is difficult. The question is, if you give into it, you are reinforcing the pattern that is trying to express itself. If you grab a cigarette and feel, oh, now I feel better, I can stop again. No, it's not stopping. That's ridiculous. You'll never stop. It's the same thing here. It is about, at the moment that the energy is pulling on you, it's pulling, it has this attractive power. I want you to see that, right? You're trying to let it go and it won't. It keeps pulling you in. Good. That's not bad. That's good. I want you to see that. You need to relax more. I'm telling you, it's all about relaxing. If you're relaxing, you can't use your hands to push away or grab because you're using yourself to relax. So I've taught that to you. So someday you're going to listen to this and something's going to happen and you're going to be sitting in there and you'll know just what I was talking about and you'll see it happening and it's pulling on you and you're trying to let go and you have a choice, just like those inmates about looking or not looking, right? Are you going to give up? Oh, shit. All right? Because it'll do that, won't it? It'll pull you right in. Who knows about that? Okay? It'll pull you right in. Or you're going to sit there and say, I don't need the $1 million. I don't need the pardon. I don't need the Ferrari. I don't need the house in Maui. I need liberation. I want to know what it's like to be free of this. I don't want this running my life. This is not the highest part of my being. I'm the highest part of my being. And I am willing, ready, willing, and able, just for the sake of it, to explore greatness. I'm letting go. Now, letting go doesn't mean control. I used to tell the story like this. You're in a tug of war. You know, tug of war is literally tug of war with a rope, right? You got that rope. On the other end of the rope is an NFL football team. And you're here by yourself. You're in big trouble, okay? I'm not denying the pull is very strong. You've taken, oh my God, that's why I don't teach techniques. You've taken all these techniques of digging your heels in, of how to lean with your body weight, and all the different things they would teach you, of all the different techniques of how to stand your own in a tug of war. You understand that? And you're doing them and they're not working. And all of a sudden, Yoda shows up. Yoda? Little Yoda? What are you doing here? Well, I can't make believe I'm Yoda. I shouldn't have picked Yoda, all right? But in any event, all right? Luke, you know not, right? Let go. Let go, Luke. Right? He says, I'll stop trying to be Yoda. I'm not doing very well, all right? He says, what do you mean, let go? If I let go, they'll pull me. I'll get pulled down and I'll smush in the mud, all right? Let go. Let go. I don't get it. I don't get it. Relax your hands. What? I wasn't paying attention to my hands. I was paying attention to my feet and the weight in the body. And what do you mean let go? No. Relax your hands. Look. Relax your hands. What will happen if you relax your hands? It's over. Did you hear me? It's over. No more rope. No more pull. I don't care if 15 NFL football teams are at the end of the rope. You win. Go home. You were trying to go home, by the way, right? All you were trying to do is go home, but you had to pull them with you. Who said? There you go, right? Just relax your hands. The whole struggle's over. That's what it's like to surrender. You're in there. The energy's pulling you on it. Please don't fight it. This is Zen. You don't need to be strong. You need to be wise. It's judo. Understand that? That it's not about being stronger than the energy that's pulling on you. It can't take you anywheres if you let go. Can it? All right? So if you're going through withdrawal, and we're all going through withdrawal, you understand that, right? If you're going through withdrawal and it's difficult, and you try to make it be not difficult, and you're doing all kinds, you're in trouble, all right? If you relax and just say, it's a storm, it's going to go on for a while, I'm okay with that. I don't mean I like it. Doesn't mean if I'm in the middle of it and fighting with it, I'm okay. But I can relax and just lay down and relax and relax. And there's a place inside of me, there's no storm. Me, okay, the self. That is the self. That is how you find your way back to the self. You cease to leave. And so this act of releasing the energy is ultimately, and again, many of you may not be able to relate to what I'm talking about, you will eventually realize there's nothing going on but that point. You will literally come to a state within your being, if you work on this, that's all you're doing for the rest, all of your days. You're letting go. That is living from a place of surrender. You have now sat back at this place and you are just constantly keeping your hands to yourself, relaxing. The harder it is, the better. The harder it is, it means the more of a powerful samskara you're letting go of. So far, everything we've talked about in terms of doing these practices and raising the quality of your life is really what I call non-negative. In other words, all this stuff is a mess. How do we not have to have a mess, right? In other words, not drowning. If you're drowning, it's nice enough to not be drowning. Now I want to talk about that's nothing. That's nothing. We haven't even begun to discuss who you are and what it can be like in there, right? As long as those blockages are in there, holding you back, then you're going to deal with those as a result of those blockages, because that's the energy you have coming up inside of you. As the blockages release, what happens naturally, you don't have to do anything. It's about not doing, it's about letting go. As the blockages release, the energy is freed from having to go around the blockages. That actually feels different. That's not just a psychological or physical, philosophical discussion. You start to feel happier. You start to feel higher. You start to feel like you used to feel when you had a good day or when you were having a particularly great experience, but nothing's happening. You're just feeling this uplifting energy go on inside of you. And it gets higher and higher. You start feeling love because you saw a bird fly off the branch of a tree and twerp. For the next 10 minutes, it blew you away. Like it took this phenomenal sunset to do. Everything that's happening, it comes in and you feel it at a richer, deeper level. Of course you do. You are more open. You're more receptive. You don't have all these needs and blockages and problems going on that you're trying to solve, and the bird didn't solve those. How did that help me? I'm lonely, right? And if you don't have that junk inside of you and you're feeling wholer and more complete inside of you, here, it's like, let's say you're hungry, really hungry. You haven't eaten for whatever reason, you haven't eaten for days, you're starved, and you're walking through a town trying to find something to eat. You see somebody who before you would have been attracted to them. You're not attracted to them, you're looking for food. Somebody help wanted. You used to need a job in that exact area. You ain't stopping there, right? You will always go after your greatest need. That's what Maslow taught you, right? You will go after whatever is your most negative spot. Needs are not natural. Needs are problems. Needs means something is wrong. Listen to me. They won't teach you this. Okay, physiological needs, sure, to an extent that's natural. There are no psychological needs. All your psychological needs are because of your blockages. That's what your whole psyche is. When the energy is freed, you don't feel need ever. What you feel is fulfillment. You feel love, you feel joy, you feel enthusiasm, you feel excitement. And because, what are those? Love, joy, enthusiasm, excitement, energy. Are they not? They're energetic states inside of you. Come on, pay attention, right? They're not things you put your finger on. They're not even emotions, right? They're high energy states, right? I wouldn't call enthusiasm an emotion. An emotion is something that pops out at you. Enthusiasm is something that wells up inside of you, spontaneously rich. So to the extent that the energies are liberated, your energy, you don't need energy from anybody else. You have so much energy inside of you, it's incomprehensible. It's just blocked. You know you do. If something happens that you particularly like, all of a sudden there's energy. How long does it take? A billionth of a second. You understand that? You're depressed. I don't feel good. All of a sudden something happens. You receive a phone call that turns you on. What does it mean, turns you on? Makes your energy flow. That means the energy was always there. The phone call didn't manifest the energy. I can Shakti pot from the phone call, all right? It's just basically, nobody's transferring energy to you. It's basically you have opened up because the phone call matched something you needed or wanted in your samskara, and all this energy flows up. Wake up. That energy is always in you, always, even in intimate moments. You're not doing well and you all like to do intimate moments. They get all your energy flowing. That is the exact same energy. It's just coming through a different chakra. All the energy inside of you is the same. Anger energy is the same as every other energy. It's just how is it manifesting? As you clean up the channels, it goes up. It goes to higher and higher states. You know what the higher states are? The higher states are love. I don't need to tell you. How do you like being enthused about your job? Can't wait to go out and paint or do something and get, well, that's nice energy, isn't it? All right? The higher energies are beautiful. They're much more beautiful than the lower energies, right? But when you can't do anything else, you're going to do the lower energies. So as this opens up, it ceases to be non-negative and starts to become positive. It's not a matter of, oh, I don't feel anger anymore. I don't feel this need for a drink. Well, good, I'm glad. I'm glad you got there. Are you feeling overwhelming love that's so strong you have trouble getting out of bed? Are you feeling enthusiasm that's so strong that you have to get out of bed? It just pulls you out of bed. You can't wait to get to work. It's so exciting, right? Because that's what it feels like when energy is flowing. Period. Guess what? No matter what your job is. Everybody's busy trying to find the right job, correct? How are you defining the right job? The one that turns me on. The one that I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning and go there, right? How are you choosing that? Why is it that one job one way versus another? It's your blockages. If it hits your blockages right, you get enthused. If it hits them wrong, you get closed down. You're still letting that run your life. So it's not a matter of finding the right job. It's a matter of releasing the blockages so you can be enthused about the job you have, right? Now what we're going to talk about now is, now we're getting positive, right? Now it's fun and not negative. And I'm telling you, it can always be that high and higher. Don't believe those who say you can't enjoy happiness unless you felt sadness. That's not true. That dualistic thing is the psyche's that way, all right? It causes that difference. This energy is always beautiful. It's ever new joy. It's just a constant rush. It's like the first kiss every time. You don't get used to it. You don't get bored by it. It's just this beautiful, beautiful rush flow of uplifting energy that's lifting your heart up, lifting your mind up, lifting everything up. You're sharp, you're clear. It's on a clear day, all right? So what is life like? People raise their hands to me later, and I'm very surrendered because I accept it, right? And they raise their hands and say, but why would I get out of bed if I'm already happy? Why would I bother having a job? I don't understand. If I'm already filled with love and already happy, why would I have a relationship? Okay, that's your mind, believe me. But that's okay, I'll answer it, okay? Why would I do that? Because love wants to express itself. Enthusiasm wants to create. It wants to do something, doesn't it? So now you're not acting out of need. You're not acting out of pain. You're not acting out of problems. You're acting out of joy. You're acting out of beauty. And all of a sudden you're being driven by a whole nother force, okay? You're in a relationship. Why would I bother having a relationship? Because love wants to express itself. All right? The Bible says you don't light a lantern and put it under a bed. You put it on a windowsill. Okay? If you have all this love going on inside of you, right? And by the way, you say, but how will I get the person to give it to? If you have love pouring off your being, you're going to fight them off with a stick. Do you understand that? Right? I don't care what you look like. I don't care what your state. If you are filled with love, people are so attracted to love, it's what they want. Right? You be careful. Right? Don't have to worry about attracting somebody or getting somebody. It is a natural state. So you're filled with love, and you're fine if there's nobody there. Okay? But people will come, and there may be a connection that takes place to where you feel this tremendous flowing of love coming off. They feel love is raised and so on. And so you're naturally in a relationship. And if the relationship is such that you spend more and more time together and all that's working, maybe you get married. Right? Why did you get married? I don't know. We were in love. It happened. Maybe you won't get married. It doesn't matter. There's nothing sacred about anything except the energy itself. If you are filled with love, well, what happens if we're in love and then we grow? She gets into other things and she moves and she wants to leave. You help her pack. You help her. You do what you can to make sure everything's fine and she's fine, and you express your love by helping the person move on. What's wrong with that? All right? Nothing. It's beautiful. You were filled with love to start with. You're filled with love in the middle, and you will be filled with love afterwards. Is there some pain? Of course there is. I told you. When you connect with another person, your energy goes out. Inevitably, even high beings, it'll go out a certain amount and then come back, right? It comes back having flown through the other person. So you made a connection. Literally, you made an energetic connection. If that connection is broken, you're going to feel a shift in your energy inside your heart. That's perfectly natural. Don't worry, it'll rearrange and flow up. It'll take care of itself. You don't have to do anything, right? It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch what we call Chit Shakti Vilas, the dance of the Shakti, the play of consciousness, that you have this energy inside of you that knows what it's doing. It's intelligent. All right, it's beautiful, and it will fix everything, right? As I say that, right? I'm a nice Jewish yogi, but I like Christ, all right? And I shall send unto you the Holy Spirit, the great comforter, and through this all things shall be revealed unto you. That's what's being talked about. This is the great comforter, the Shakti, the Kundalini, call it whatever you want. That uprising of energy will do all the work for you. You don't have any work left. It will rise up. Your job is don't interfere, right? That's what in yogi we talk about the Divine Mother, right? This is the beautiful energy that rises up inside of you. It will feed you. And now what happens? Now let's go deep. We're not deep yet. What happens is it's so beautiful. I'm serious. What's flowing inside of you is so beautiful that your consciousness is attracted to it. Why wouldn't it be? All right? There's nothing going on outside, right? So it's not like that's where you're attracted. You're attracted to the flow of energy itself. Because you're attracted to the flow of energy itself, your life is fine, right? Right now you're messing your life up by saying, I'm lonely, I need to find somebody. So you're running around moving and, right? My job's not interesting enough for me, so I need to change my job. I'm very busy. I'm so busy messing up my life. Do you understand that? I'm busy not experiencing the moments in front of me because I need a different moment in front of me because I'm not okay. Well, that is a formula for disaster. Because I already told you the moment in front of you took 13.8 billion years to get there. Honor it, respect it. No, it's not what I want. It's what I don't want. Fine, go ahead, see what happens. See what happens while you're fighting with the moment. You're still fighting with the moment that happened 20 years ago. Do you understand that? You're still fighting with it inside yourself. Wow, that's lost. That's ridiculous. It stops. That whole thing stops because beauty is now flowing inside of you. Everything you ever wanted is flowing inside of you. You get to the point where you realize, wait a minute, the only reason I ever felt this love before is because somebody was behaving in a way that matched my samskaras and the Shakti was able to flow. It was always the same experience. Do you understand that? But that was conditional and the person didn't keep doing it and so it didn't keep flowing. Now I found the source of love, not a cause for it, temporarily. This is the source of love. It's where love always came from, except it was conditioned on me being able to open myself to experience it, okay? So now you're doing it, and you become addicted to it. Good. That's the highest addiction, right? Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. You do. I always tell everybody that's the ultimate commandment, all right? In the Old Testament, right? Don't worry about it. You do. Because that is what's flowing inside of you. That's spirit. That's more God than anything else you've ever dealt with. All right? It comes in and you love it. You naturally love it. You like to be high. And that is high. It's higher than any drug will ever take you. It's higher than any relationship will ever take you. It's higher than winning the lottery will ever take you. And it will never stop unless you stop it. That river will flow unless you dam it up. You understand? But you already been there. Been there, done that. Right? You're a veteran of the foreign wars. You know what it feels like to dam it up, don't you? Once the things start flowing, you won't touch it. If you're smart, you don't touch it. You just respect it, honor it, appreciate it, say thank you, and keep letting go. Do not let anything that is happening during your life interfere with the beauty that's going on inside of you, because there's nothing that's going to go on outside that is higher than what's already going on inside of you. Do you understand that? Before, you didn't have it going on inside of you, and it took outside conditions to make it jump for a moment. All right? That's why you miss that. Now that it is flowing inside of you, and it will flow if you will let the blockages go. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to come back to me tomorrow and say, Mickey, I tried, it didn't work. Okay? You got a lot of stuff in there, right? You got to be willing to let it go. But it's a limited amount of stuff. It's not infinite, right? You have a limited amount of stuff in there, and some of it's big and it's doing most of the blockaging, right? Are you willing to let that go? And if you start feeling this energy, now we're talking positive, you start feeling the energy and you feel love, you feel joy, you feel enthusiasm, it will now take over your life. And your life now becomes as follows. I'm fine. Well, wouldn't it be nice to say that? That's what they say, contentment. Contentment doesn't mean you're lazy. It means I'm fine. What is going on inside of me is so beautiful that I feel for the first time in my life absolute contentment, all right? I'm not looking for anything. If I look out into the world, I see what's there. I don't see what I'm looking for. It doesn't stimulate anything inside of me, anything. It just comes, it goes, and it leaves me in the state it found me, which is ecstasy, the state of absolute great being that is constantly flowing up inside of me. And you realize, well, that's really nice. That's really beautiful. That's beautiful. That's nothing. You're nowheres. Like people talk about witness consciousness, all right? Witness consciousness is not a high state. It's not a high state. It's a non-negative state because you're not going down to play with all your lower self. It is what I call the launch pad. When you achieve a state of persistent consciousness, constant consciousness, right? Become established in the seat of self, you will always be there watching what's happening below, because that's what's there. You'll see what's happening outside. You'll see what's happening inside. How hard is it to see what's happening outside? I did that with you. None. That's how hard it is to see what's happening inside. You're there. You see it. It doesn't freak you out. Doesn't make you leave. If something happens outside, you don't stop looking unless you're weird. I say weird you out, okay? Something happens inside, you just, oh, there it is. There it is. You're just there. You're conscious. That's what it means to be the witness. It doesn't mean you're doing something with your mind. I'm trying to be the witness. Here I am looking. No, that's fine. You're practicing. You can do what you want. Witness. Here. You want to know witness consciousness? Look in front of you. Do you see it? That's witness consciousness. It's called just seeing. You see. You see what's there. Do you understand that? It doesn't bother you. It's clear. Inside, there are thoughts. There are emotions. There's energy flows all the time. You're fine. You see it just the same as you see the world outside. It's just as clear. It's just as non-problematic, right? And you will be attracted, your conscience will be attracted to the beauty of this underlying flow of Shakti, of energy coming up inside of you. So the world's still there. That's what Christ meant by in the world but not of it. The world is still there, but you're living in here, okay? That's what's happening. So now what's going to happen is the world is going to unfold. You are at peace with it. It's not a problem, all right? It doesn't mean you don't do anything. I've promised you I'd get here before, all right? It doesn't mean you don't do anything. Because you're there and you're clear, the world appears in front of you. There's nothing personal about it. It doesn't bother you. It doesn't freak you out. You don't need it, right? It's just there. There it is, okay? And you're filled with this love and this joy and this enthusiasm and this energy, and you're fine. And you're going to find that every moment that unfolds in front of you is there for you. It's there for you to serve it. It's there for you, maybe a little, maybe a lot, to come forward and rise it. raise it, right? You're walking on a walk and there's a piece of paper somebody dropped on the side of the road, right? And it comes in and you feel the disharmony. You feel that you want to express the beauty that an artist expresses by making something more beautiful. And you reach down and pick up the piece of paper. Your mind doesn't say, oh, if I pick this one up, I'm not going to pick up every single piece of paper anybody littered, right? Your mind doesn't say, what kind of an idiot threw this piece of paper down here? These are the kind of people that ruin the world. No. Your heart loves picking up that piece of paper. You can't not, right? It's sort of like Divine Mother is there and there's a little piece of dirt on her face. Let me get it off. That not telling you to pick up every piece of paper. I just use an example that you have the opportunity to raise the moment that is passing before you. You don't have to be out there talking to the masses to do something, all right? You always have the opportunity to raise the moment that's passing by you. The highest life anyone can ever live is that every single moment is better off because it passed before you. That's all. Just the moment. You can only interact with the moment that's in front of you, people, right? Forget these thoughts of grandeur. I'm going to feed the world, okay? That's wonderful. Maybe someday you will feed the world. Start by feeding what's in front of you. Start by raising what's in front of you. Don't sit there and say, I want to feed the world, so I'm not going to take care of my baby. It's just one person. There's too many babies suffering. I'm not going to feed mine. What's the matter with you, all right? There are people fighting all over the world. There are wars. You're yelling at your wife, telling her that. How can I be okay? There's all these wars. What's the matter? You're just creating a war right there. All right? If you can't create harmony in your household with your people, what right do you have to complain that other people are shooting missiles at each other? If you had missiles, you'd be shooting them too. Right? It's like you have to live the life that if everyone lived it, imagine all the people living life in peace. If you can't do it, and that's what activists, they can't do it. They're filled with anger. They're filled, oh my God, I'm going to blow up a Hummer because it pollutes. You just polluted the environment way more than the Hummer could ever pollute by blowing it up. Do you understand that, all right? You have to just get out of yourself. The ultimate becomes this. The world is going to come in. It is going to hit what's left of you. That's called your reactive energy. Do nothing ever again for the rest of your life based on that energy. Right? That energy is not what you want to be dumping out into this world. That's your garbage. You understand that? And I say, but I'm justified. You need justification to dump your garbage? Right? That's what you think? That some corporate company that's dumping into the rivers, I'm justified. Look, the other company did it. There's no justification. You understand that? If this is garbage, it's garbage. It's your own garbage. Dump in your own yard. Let it go. So you don't ever act based on your personal energies. You won't be able to do it to start with. I'm just letting you know. When that energy releases, you just let it go. It's an initial reaction, your personal stuff, right? You let it go and you'll be left there and you look to see, is there something I'm supposed to be doing with the moment in front of me? Not for me. I let go of me. Is there something I'm supposed to be doing for the moment in front of me? I already told you, 95% of the time, there will not even be anything out there because all you were dealing with was your own reactive energy. You understand that? The car in front of you, somebody doesn't say hello, you start thinking for yourself what happened a few years ago. There's nothing even there. It has nothing to do with the reality in front of you. It has to do with the garbage inside of you, right? Let it go. Relax through it. Just keep relaxing. This is your highest sadhana, your highest spiritual practice is what I'm talking about. I hope right now we've done this whole course. You understand where that garbage comes from. It is not something you want to be dumping on somebody else, either from need or from fear. All right? So, but there are times in which you will let that go, and you're not going to let it go perfectly. Don't be like that. Don't go OCD on me. All right? I'm only asking you that your first reaction is not to give into it and let it run you. That you're conscious, it comes up, take a breath, relax, and release. And as you meditate and you work with this enough, someday it'll become so natural to you, right? Just, I don't care if it takes years, right? It's worth it. It's worth the investment. This is your whole life. Just learn to let go, then be present with what's in front of you. Now you're interacting, you, the consciousness, are interacting what's there instead of reacting to what's there. Okay? And what you will find is the vast majority of the time, you're liberated, you're unemployed. There's nothing to do because there's nothing out there. You are doing it. Somebody doesn't say hello to you, all this noise starts going up inside of you. Well, they already passed by. I should run after them and ask why this. No, you shouldn't. You're going to be so grateful to me for the things you don't do based on your garbage, all right? You let it go. If the person has a problem with you, you'll find out. Believe me, it doesn't take that they didn't say hello once. Maybe they didn't hear you. Maybe they were busy thinking. I don't know. You don't know either. You understand that? Don't you dare let your mind think why somebody else is doing what they're doing. You only know why you would have been doing that. That's all you can know because you have your own data. They're totally different. I already told you that. So you keep letting go and then deal with what's in front of you. And now people come to me and say, but how will I know how to deal with what's in front of you? If you're conscious and you're there and you're actually paying attention at every level to what's there, you will see. That's called seeing. You will see. It's talking to you. It doesn't have to be in words. You understand that? The piece of paper, the person that needs some help, whatever the heck it is, it's obvious. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't even matter what you do. What matters is where you're coming from. What matters is your motive. And if your motive is to let go of myself and to serve the moment in front of me, my God, let me touch your feet. Do you understand that? How would you like to meet somebody that the entire motive and purpose of their life is to first let go of their personal garbage and do their best to serve what's in front of them? They can't do anything wrong. You hear me? The motive itself is pure. The motive itself is beautiful. So don't even look back, right? And if somebody comes and says, oh, you didn't do this right, I say, I'm sorry. That's all. Let go. You don't own anything. There's no guilt. There's no shame. There's no karma. There's no anything. If you are not going with your personal self, you are giving to the best of your ability to the moment in front of you. That's the highest you can do. The best that you can do is the best that you can do. It's holy. It's great. If something comes back terrible from the best that you can do, love it. It's yours. Own it. Let it teach you. Let it make you better so you'll do better next time. Don't feel bad about it. Don't judge anything. It's only when you are reacting to your garbage that the junk comes back and hits your garbage, and it becomes really confusing and complicated. So now you're seated. We're not done yet. Now you're seated in a seat of awareness that can't be disturbed by what's going on below you, right? It's the most that happens is there's a beautiful energy and you're resting it. At some point, I don't need to teach you, it's going to happen naturally. It's going to dawn on you, not mentally, just intuitively. Where's this energy coming from? Coming from somewhere. I feel it, right? A master once wrote a poem. Oh, what hast thou done to me? Wave upon wave of endless joy saturates me day and night. Throng upon throng of ecstasy. That's what I'm talking about. Where's that coming from? You feel it as a flow. Literally, you feel it just like you feel someone touching you, right? This is not philosophical. It is an experience of Shakti, of Chi, of energy, spirit flowing up inside of you constantly. And at some point, it's going to dawn on your awareness of being. That's got a source. It's coming from somewheres. You start to seek the source. Now you're talking, literally. Well, my mind can't seek the source. It stops the flow, right? It's not going to be a mental, philosophical thing. It's not a scientific journey, right? There's only one thing that can seek the source, that which is experiencing the flow, and that's you, your consciousness. Well, how do you seek this? How do you find the source of the spring? You swim toward it. You feel the current. You go into it, all right? And that is what your whole spiritual practice will be from that moment forward. Now we're going to talk surrender, real surrender. You've surrendered your lower self, so you earned the right to feel this higher energy flow inside of you. Now your consciousness is experiencing the flow. It's still subject-object. Consciousness experiencing the flow, right? If you want to know the flow, you have to fall into it. And so you start surrendering yourself, your sense of self, your sense of separation. You get closer to the flow. It's not enough to just look at it. You understand that? You actually release yourself into it, and the flow pulls you into it. And that's where the great high, yoga means merger. That's what the word yoga means. Meher Baba, the great master, said when he first went to the highest states, right, to enlightenment, he said it was like a drop of water fell into the ocean. My consciousness was a drop. It was separate. It fell into the ocean of consciousness. Find it. You can't. That's the merger. Christ said, my Father and I are one. Teaching the same exact thing, all right? When you cease to separate your sense of self from this flow of the energy, it starts to pull you into it. And then it will flow back into this. You're going to understand there is a river of joy that is flowing inside of you. Find it, go there, get in, and drown. All right? We're talking high stuff now, all right? This is what happens, but look how we got there. We got there by letting go of the blockage of this flow. These are totally natural states. You shouldn't be seeking them. Don't be blocked and then try to find out what it's like to not be blocked. All right? Get unblocked. And this is your experience. And then your meditations will become completely natural. You'll be sitting there minding your own business, watching TV, and you'll fall into states that you never reached after 6 hours of meditation. And it happens over and over and over again. You'll be driving your car. Next thing you know, the Shakti is just pouring out the top of your head. You're in total ecstasy. Better be careful. All right? All right? I hope she can drive because it's difficult. All right? Maybe that's DUI. All right? Or driving with Shakti. But net result is, don't, by the way, pull over. You can enjoy yourself. But I probably watch what I say. But the net result is any moment, it just overcomes you. The great masters, Ramakrishna, used to just, tears would pour down his eyes. He'd just start dancing. No reason. He'd just be filled with love and joy, overwhelming. Not bad. I'll take it. How about you? All right? But you can still live your life. But you don't live your life. What happens is your being is in harmony with the flow of life. Why? Because you're part of life. You're not different. I understand that? You're part of the whole. But you have separated yourself. Do you understand that? You separated yourself by separating yourself, right? I hate to do it, but I love it, right? Go back to Genesis. I told you the fall from the garden is when you started putting the stuff aside. That's what the tree was of self-knowledge, of right and wrong, good and evil. Now I'm going to tell you, this is a fun one with you, right? Adam. God walks in the garden. I don't know the story exactly, but good enough. God walks in the garden. Adam, where are you? Remember, Adam was just in this state of total bliss and ecstasy, experiencing the beauty of the universe. That's what it means to be in the garden. Where are you? In other words, why are you not there? Where are you? I'm hiding from you. Oh my God, is that beautiful? I'm hiding from you. How do you hide from God? Okay, well, you figured it out. You build a fortress inside yourself that says I'm separate, and all I care about is looking down at myself, and I don't see the rest. How do you hide from Steven Spielberg's house? Watch the TV instead. Do you understand that? I'm hiding from you. I love that. So I have built my personal self, and I have lost myself in it. And then the next one I love more than anything. Adam, what is that around your waist? Oh, a fig leaf. Well, I put them on the tree. What's it doing around your waist? Ready? I was naked. Whoa. The cat's naked. The dog's naked. The ape's naked. What do you mean you're naked? I've taken on a self-concept. I'm identifying with my body. I no longer feel one with the universe and wholeness. I've separated myself. My consciousness is hiding from God. Isn't that beautiful? Once you understand what's going on, and you go back to these metaphors, these analogies, all right, parables, if you will, right, where they can't teach you the truth because you couldn't hear it, so they tell these stories. But look what's in that story. Okay, so the fall from the garden is the fall into the ego, is the fall of your consciousness instead of experiencing the wholeness, which is part of focusing on this separateness that you built. All right, God gave you free will. Look what you did with it. You separated yourself. You built this self-concept, and now you stare at it. As the Shakti, the spirit, flows inside, because you let it go. That's your last act of will. I'm releasing my blockage. I'm willing to sit back here and go through the pain. St. John of the Cross called it the dark night of the soul, right? I am willing to sit back here. I don't care what it takes, and let go of whatever needs to be released. That is my life, all right? And then the energy starts flowing, then all of a sudden it becomes beautiful all the time, right? Because that energy is gorgeous, and you would never block her again. When something happens and you feel you want to defend yourself, you don't touch it. You let go of the part of you that wants to close down. Then deal with it. I'm not saying you don't deal with it. Your wife comes to you and says, I'm just not happy with it. I want to get divorced, right? What? You're like shocked, right? Like Let go. You mean get divorced? No. Let go of your personal reaction of all of your garbage. This is a maybe once or twice in a lifetime experience. Make sure you use it well. Ram Dass used to say, use it to go to God. You use it to let go. Then what? Then go to a marriage counselor. Do what you can to try and help the situation, to honor the respect of the marriage, etc. But first, let go of yourself. Do not sit there and demand to go to a marriage counselor or fix the marriage because you're scared to death that you won't be okay if it's over. That's personal, right? You do it because of Dharma. You do it because we built something and we should try to work with it. We shouldn't just give up. Are you willing? If he or she is not willing, there's nothing you can do, right? But let go of yourself. Every step of the way, each moment. It is not about you protecting yourself. It is not about you getting what you want. You hear me? That part of you don't want that part of you. So if you can use these different situations as atomic bombs to get rid of that part of you, I pranam to you. All right, I honor and respect you. But I told you, don't start with that. Start with low-hanging fruit and your past. That's all I ask of you, right? If you want to think you're practicing these teachings, don't take on too much. All I want is, if there's a 100% cost and 0% benefit, right? You just made this problem for yourself. Come on, guys, let it go. That's not so hard. And if it's about the past, that's 100% cost, 0 benefit because it's over, right? Those two things will take you there. Do you hear me? Now, if meditation helps you stay conscious enough to let go of those things, by all means do that. If having a mantra so that you teach your mind to say something over and over again so you don't have to listen to your lower mind, you get to listen to that instead. Whatever technique, Malavis, japa, prayer, Bible, I don't care. Whatever it is that's helping you let go of just these low-hanging fruits, that will take you there by itself, right? You will learn how to let go, then some bigger thing will happen. It will be natural to you to let go, right? Don't sit there and come to me when the terrible atomic bomb went off and say, now what do I do? Meditate? No, if you have not meditated up to this point, I don't think it's going to help you. You understand that? You need to do your work of releasing yourself. But I hope through the course, the different sessions of this course, that you've come to see there is nothing else to do. Ram Dass once wrote a book called The Only Dance There Is. Okay? This is the only dance there is. There's only one thing that is meaningful to do with your life. The rest is just creating a mess for you and everybody else. Yes, it's true. Very few people are doing this. So what? Right? That's not a reason not to do it. You be the exception. Be exceptional. Set an example. And so you let go of these things. It takes time. You work with it. Then the energy starts flowing. And the only reason I talked about it, because you'll experience it yourself, right, is so you recognize it when it's happening. People write me all the time, oh my God, all of a sudden all this energy came over me. It was so strong after I read, the Surrender Experiment, Done to the Soul or something, right? And just let go. Just understand what it is. It's not going to stay the first time. You'll get these rushes because something opens up, right? Believe me, it'll close back down. You have work to do. It's real. But eventually it will never leave you, ever. You will become a knower of that part of God. You will become a knower of your soul, a knower of spirit. And then when you can relax and release into the deeper states, you go. That's what enlightenment is. People shouldn't use the word enlightenment. Please don't use the word I'm enlightened. You can say I had an enlightening experience. You're welcome to do that. But please do not say you're enlightened, all right? And I wish nobody would say that. I mean, the masters that have the right to use that word that we talk about, you're talking about states that are way, way beyond where these people that are running around saying they're high are, okay? Just be content. Don't build a spiritual ego. This is not about hanging a shingle out there saying, oh, I'm a spiritual person, right? It is about, let go of that too. It is about letting go of yourself constantly, perpetually, never stop. And then the energy will take over where you used to be there, right? Literally, the energy, the Shakti, the Chi will take over. Surrender to it, give your life to it, merge into it, and it will take you the rest of the way. That is living from a place of surrender, all right? I told you when we started, this is deep stuff, isn't it? This is real, all right? Do it, please. I'm so honored to have had this opportunity to share these teachings with you, to take this journey with you. And all I ask from you, because I care about you, right? Don't let it just be a course you took and wasn't that interesting and doesn't have something nice to say or compare it with something else. Do this work. I left lots of room. You can have lots of teachers. You have lots of teachings. You can have lots of religions. You can have whatever you want. No religion. I don't care, right? Be a complete agnostic or atheist. It'll work just fine. It doesn't matter. In the end, you could be the atheist that found God. All right, because that's what's going to happen. And there's nothing wrong with that. Believe me, God's just as happy. Right? It's 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 the question of, do you understand now? Do you have the foundation of what it means to grow spiritually? Do you understand where that place of surrender is? It's very deep inside of you. Do you understand you're capable of doing this? Except that you're telling yourself you're not, right? That's just your mind. You are capable, and the non-negative is beautiful, and the positive is incomprehensible, and it never stops. It just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. I hope you do well with these things. If you want more, right? My books, people do very well with the Untethered Soul. It goes very deeply into this stuff and guides you through it. And then the Surrender Experiment, I wrote that to show people who claim that if I do this, then that's my life. No, that's not your life. That's your state of being. Life will still unfold in front of you, and you will do really well with it. You're shocked to see what is going to unfold in front of you and how well you will do. That was the purpose of writing the Surrender Experiment. Very good. I love you. I really enjoyed sharing with you. I'm sorry that we don't get to do more. I wish we could spend time together continuously, right? Do well with these things. And I really honor you for being interested in these things. The fact that you're just interested in them, you've changed the world. All right. I respect very deeply that you're working on yourself. Namaste.